There's a little pond by the spa gardens in Felixstowe surrounded by iron railings, and it's filled with a stock of ornamental fish and water lilies, and this has inspired me to do watercolour painting. I start by sketching out a little composition. I want to be quite creative. I want to be able to capture a sense of movement. I'm going to have some water lilies right at the top of the picture, and then leading down into 2 or 3 fish. I might put one of the big ones actually in the background. Now that I've finished doing a rough outline, I'm putting down a wash using a mixture of the Payne's grey and a couple of the other blues in the set. I'm just going straight in with a wide brush, and being careful to actually angle that carefully when I get around, the fish and my water lily leaves, so that I don't actually go over or go too far over the lines that I've drawn in for myself. I'm also adding in a little bit of a suggestion of the shapes that I'm going to emphasise in the water as well, just to get an idea really where I'm going to add a bit more definition later on. Once the first wash of the watery area is done, I can start adding in some of these water lilies. I'm going to be really, really loose at first, but you know me, if you've seen any of my other videos, it's going to end up being quite detailed. So I'm starting off just by blocking out some colours, and I'm letting the colours bleed into each other. The leaves that I saw in Felixstowe at the pond, they were kind of variegated. They seem to be almost stripy, with shades of green and burgundy and red and pink. I'm using Archie's rough watercolour paper, and I've used this quite a bit just lately. Next time I start a new painting, I might try something different, but for now I'm enjoying using it. It's got a very rough tooth, so it absorbs a huge amount of water. You can put on loads of layers, and it really does keep a vivid pigment. I'm very happy with it. I'm combining that with the Professional Winsor Newton set. I'm getting to like these professional paints actually. They're really good, and they've got a higher level of pigment than what I'm used to. I'm trying to make these water lily leaves look like they're sitting just on the surface of the water. So I've added some of these dark lines around the edges, not all the way, but just hints here and there to make it look like it's the meniscus of the water where it's joining the surface of the leaf, just to enhance that impression that they're floating on the surface. And then by adding in some more wash, I'm using a sort of violet colour here. I can make it look like there's areas where the water's deeper, or where it's catching shade underneath these leaves. Gives you the idea that it's not just a really sort of flat two-dimensional thing, that there's depth here in different layers going throughout the painting. Adding in the stones on the bottom of the pond, that's starting to really build up an impression of a real body of water. I don't want the stones to be too sharply defined, because otherwise it will bring them sort of too far forward. I'm trying to keep them slightly soft, but I do have to make sure that the edges, that there's enough detail in there just so that they look like individual solid objects too. It's a bit of a balancing act. Using washes of brown tones over the pebbles, it's helping me to create not only a warmer picture, but also to create the impression of clear areas of water, and that's working quite nicely, and it's giving a further sense of depth as well. it's a bit of a challenge to paint a pattern that's really truly organic. Humans have a bit of a tendency to make regular patterns, so you have to be quite conscious of that, particularly when you're painting something in nature. I'm trying to keep these looking as natural as I possibly can, and so far so good. These are the first washes. Needs a lot more detail adding to it yet, but it's a good start and it gives me a sort of platform to build on. Now to start on my big fish. I want to sink into the bottom of the water, so I'm going to have to use a few washes. I'm going to start adding a little detail in. I can always go backwards and forwards with detail and washes, and I'm just going to sort of gradually build up a surface that looks not too detailed, but I do want to give that impression of it being fish skin, so kind of shiny, catching the light in certain areas, and also that otherworldliness of a sort of bigger creature at the very bottom of the water. So he's got to be a little bit vague, but enough detail to perhaps be recognisable. And who knows, if you're a fish aficionado, that's quite a mouthful. If you are a fish aficionado, maybe you might even know what the species is from the painting. That'd be good. and then onto the goldfish then. Just sort of getting in some block colour. I'd already started to do that because I couldn't resist it, just to get a splash of colour on. And then I'm going to do the fish that's in the sort of middle ground there. So I think it's an half. I could be wrong, but it's a fish that's quite pale in colour in between them, and this one's going to have a bit more detail than the big fish at the bottom. Do you know, it's always satisfying to take that masking tape off and release the picture when it's done. I'm very happy with this. I think I've used my imagination a lot and enjoyed it all the more for doing that. I like the fact that I've got a sense of movement in that. That's what works extra especially well for me in this painting. It's a nice colourful piece of artwork. I hope you've enjoyed watching my process of making this painting of the Felixstowe fish. And yeah, if you have, please do give us a like and a subscribe. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.